Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we have 42 players who were selected in this year's 2025 NBA draft, and we're going to be throwing them into a tier list based on how I think their careers will go. Our top tier is the MVP caliber guys / perennial All-NBA players. This is like the Kawhi Leonard type of tier. Guys that could be MVPs but are more likely just going to be perennial All-NBA first or second team. Next up we have the perennial All-Stars. This is like, I guess you could say, who's a good player? Like, I guess the Paul Georges, like prime Paul George. Someone that's going to make the All-Star team every year, maybe make some All-NBA teams, but just be a star in the league. Next up, we have the key role players. This is like the Jaren Jackson Jr.'s. Solid starters, like Malcolm Brogdon, I guess, level of a guy. Solid backups. This is like Peyton Pritchard, maybe a little bit worse. I guess he was Sixth Man of the Year. Not many minutes. This is like the Dragon Benders, and then out of the league quick is like the complete random Alec Peters. We got 42 people on this tier list. It's the best one I could find. So before we get started, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you agree with, what you disagree with, and let's get started. First up here, we've got Dylan Harper from Rutgers. I think he's going to be a perennial all-star. I think he's going to be someone that will not step into the league right away on the Spurs and be a star, but I think in a few years he'll be at a All-NBA level, maybe 5 years into his career, kind of have a career arc like Cade Cunningham's had. I think that's realistic for Dylan Harper. I don't think he'll be at that level right away, but I like what he had at Rutgers. A good defender on ball, can definitely be solid at that. Good athlete. The shot's going to have to develop a little bit more, but I feel like he can get to that point. Good ball handler, good playmaker. He'll be an all-star at least 3 times in the league, I feel like. Carter Bryant's next. I don't know if he'll ever be at like this key role player / I guess we can say / few all-stars. I don't think he's ever going to be an all-star level guy, but he's going to be one of the better role players in the league. Kind of like a Marcus Smart type of role. We saw in the Summer League how good of a defender Carter Bryant really is. He didn't play much at Arizona, which is kind of coaching issue with Sean Miller, I think is their coach there at Arizona. But he's a good athlete. The shot is still developing a little bit, but it is solid right now. And he's a great defender. And I think that with the Spurs, him and Dylan Harper could be a really good duo for a couple years in the league. I don't think that they're both going to be lifetime Spurs guys, just because it's going to get to be a really expensive team with Wembanyama and both of them, and Sohan and Vassell and Fox. But I think that while they are together, they can have a few good playoff runs. Bryant can develop into an eventual starter. And yeah, I think he's going to be just a really good defender, multiple-time all-defensive guy. Next up, we have Derek Queen. I think he's going to be a key role player at his peak. Actually, I think he's just going to be this. I think he's just going to be a solid starter. Because he's going to have the traits. He's going to be a good scorer at some point in his career. He'll get there. His playmaking has been good. In the Summer League, he was just a skilled big guy. I don't know if he'll ever get to the point where he's a key role player, but I think he could be a starter on a championship team. I mean, we've seen teams like the Bucks win it with Brook Lopez. I think he could be a Brook Lopez type of guy. Not play style-wise, but just like what Brook Lopez was on that Bucks championship team, I think that's what Derek Queen could be. Or maybe like a Bobby Portis off the bench. Good scorer, can do a lot of things. I think that that's what Derek Queen will be in his career. Colin Murray-Boyle's next. I don't think he'll ever be a starting level guy, but he'll be a really good backup off the bench defensively, good playmaker, and a good athlete. Cooper Flagg, he might be the only player up here, but he will be a multi-time All-NBA player for sure. I don't quite know if he'll ever get to be an MVP, but there is a chance. And that is why this tier is called the MVP caliber tier, because of Cooper Flagg. Next up, not sure. I guess this is Liam McNeely. I think he'll be a solid backup at his peak. I don't think he'll be a starting caliber. Let's move Colin Murray Boyles up. I think he's a tier above McNeely. I think McNeely will be a 6 man of the year type of guy. He's a great scorer. He's got a good natural scoring instinct. Good athlete for a white guy and a good shooter. I mean, he's got basically everything that you would want. Murray Boyles, I think, definitely could be a starter. Albeit a low-level starter, but I think he'll be a starter at some point in his career for sure. Will Riley, he's a bit hard to do this for, but I think he's going to be like a Bruce Brown type of guy. A good backup who can contribute in a lot of different ways to winning. But I don't know if he'll ever be a starting level guy. It's a little bit hard to do this, but I don't think he'll ever be a starting level guy. Ace Bailey, I think he'll be a perennial all-star at his peak. I mean, just his height is going to make him so unguardable if he can turn into a knockdown shooter in the NBA. If he can master his pull-up mid-range shot like what Kevin Durant has, he could be a perennial all-star in the NBA. Thomas Sorber, my Thunder dude. He'll be a solid backup for a long time in the NBA. Freak athlete, good rebounder, great shot blocker. That's all you need to be a second-string center in the NBA. Like a first-off-the-bench type of guy. And we've seen a lot of them in the league before. Some of them don't work out, but I think Sorber will work out. Jeremiah Fears, I think he'll be a key role player at some point. He kind of reminds me of the Desmond Bane type of player, but I think he'll be more impactful to winning. But yeah, I think he'll get a few All-Stars probably. And I think he can be a key role player on a championship team, a top 4 guy. But we'll have to see. Danny Wolf. Oh, it's hard to rank him, but I don't think he's going to get many minutes. I think he's going to be like a 3rd-string guy in a few years. He's not someone that's going to be out of the league like Dragan Bender was. But I just don't know. With Danny Wolf's impact as a stretch 5, but he's kind of undersized, can't defend too well. I don't know how he's going to fit in the NBA. He's a little bit slower too. I don't love it. This year with Brooklyn, he might be the first guy off the bench at the center spot if Claxton gets traded, but outside of this year, I don't know. Jace Richardson, he's going to be a solid starter at some point. Just a multi-talented guy. That's kind of all you need. Good shooter, good athlete, good defender. He's got all the tools. He just needs to really excel at one thing. He's just average at just about everything. He needs one crazy thing, and I guess that's his athleticism. But he's got a good shooting stroke. I think he could be a star in the NBA maybe. I just don't know if he'll ever be an all-star. But we'll have to see. Asa Newell, I think he could be an all-star. But I'm going to move Derek Queen up. I think even if he doesn't get an all-star appearance, I think he can be a key role player on the team. Asa Newell, though, I think will be a solid starter. They were traded for each other. Newell might end up being the better player. Great defender down low, can run the 4 or the 5, good athlete, okay shooter, but a good rebounder too. I think he'll be pretty good. Nick Clifford, I think, will get to the point where he's a starter at some point. Swiss Army knife, can do everything on the court. He's just really good at everything, honestly, except for shooting. Shooting is the main thing he's not good at. But a great on-ball defender, good rebounder, good athlete, good passer, and his shot's not horrible. Maxime Reynaud, I think, will be a solid backup in the league. I think he'll be a guy that can start some games, but I just don't know about him being a full-time starter in the NBA. He's got the tools. I mean, he's 7'2", good shooter, good offensive bag, but I just don't know. He's more of a slower guy. Yegor Dimon, I think, will be a solid backup. I don't think he'll be a perennial starter. I think he'll be just a backup in his career. Don't know who that is down there at all. I think that's the dude that pulled out of the draft. Rasheer Fleming, he's going to be a solid starter at some point in his career. He reminds me of Al-Farouq Aminu a lot. I've been saying that since the draft process. He's a pretty solid guy. Walter Clayton Jr., I think he'll just be a solid backup. I think he's going to have like a Seth Curry type of career. Kasparas Yekuchonis, though, he could be a key role player in the league. I like what he's got. His jump shot is still improving, and he does have some turnover issues, but he could be a lead point guard at some point. Noah Singh, I think he'll be just a solid starter. He'll be like a little bit better than Patrick Williams at his peak. Cedric Coward, I think, could be a key role player, honestly. I really like what they got in Cedric Coward, the Grizzlies. He's a good shooter. He knows how to play the game really well. And he's a good defender, too. He's got good length. Drake Powell, I don't think he'll ever be a guy that's a heavy minute guy. I think he'll be more of an end-of-the-bench type of guy. Con Knipple, though, could be a key role player at some point. I like what they got in him. And he's on a Hornets team that might lose LaMelo in a few years. And he can... My bad. He can really, I think, be a top 3 scorer on a team. Kama Mawach, I think he can be a perennial all-star. I'm not necessarily projecting that for him. He's the main guy that I'm kind of predicting that there's a chance. But I think he can get there. He's just a freak athlete. Crazy long wingspan. I think he'll be really good. Adu Thero, I think can be an all-star or a starter. I don't think he'll ever be an all-star, but he's got the athleticism, got the defense where he can be a solid starter. Who is that? I'm going to have to look up 2 or 3 of these guys because there's a few that I don't know. I think that this is Yannick Conan Niederhauser. I don't think he'll be a starter ever, but he's got the tools to be a really good backup in the league. This is Meshack, I believe. Jemai Meshack might be out of the league in 1 season. I think the Grizzlies haven't even signed him yet. I don't know what plan for him is. Janai Broom's another guy that I think is going to be out of the league quick. He's just so slow and unathletic for a big guy in today's NBA. He's got the tools to score, but I don't think he's ever going to be like what Jokic is. He's going to be out of the league pretty soon, I think. I don't know, but I just don't think he's quite talented offensively with how slow and unathletic he is to ever turn into anything crazy in the NBA. VJ Edgecombe, I think, is going to be a perennial all-star. I don't know how long it's going to take him, but I think if he gets that Victor Oladipo peak, it's over. If Embiid stays healthy until he gets that Oladipo peak, Paul George stays what he was last year, and then they have Maxey, that team's going to be really good. Edgecombe is really talented, though. Great defender, great athlete. Does remind me a lot of Victor Oladipo. Sion James, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get many minutes throughout his career. I don't even feel like he's ready for a standard contract. The Hornets signed him to a standard deal anyway, and I just don't know what he's going to do next year. I don't think his scoring is near NBA level yet. But he is a good defender and a decent rebounder. He's very versatile, even though he's only 6'4". Kind of reminds me of Lou Dort, but I don't think the scoring's as good yet. Then we've got Eric Dixon, I believe. I guess we can call that Eric Dixon. He didn't even get a standard contract out of the draft or a two-way. He's on Exhibit 10 with the Lakers, so I don't think he's going to last in the league. Teams obviously don't believe in him. Tyrese Proctor, he's not going to have that crazy of an NBA career, but he definitely can be a solid guy that stays on an NBA roster for a while. Cam Jones, he could be a solid backup. He's got a lot of good talents. He's a shooter, he's a playmaker, he's a ball handler, and he can be an all-ball defender. Trey Johnson, though, I think he's going to be a perennial all-star. His scoring and his ball handling, his ability to get to the basket, he's going to be a very good ISO guard in the NBA. I really think so. Kind of like a better Cam Thomas. Because I think he's a much better defender than Cam Thomas was. But we are going to have to see. Nolan Traore, I believe that's who that is. I think he'll be a solid starter at some point. I don't think he'll ever be a key role player, but he can be a guy that'll get 8 assists a game, I think, kind of like what Tyus Jones was a few years ago with the Grizzlies. And then Hansen Yang. He can get to this point, but I'm projecting that his peak will be a solid starter. Now I got to find out who all these guys are. Ben Seraph here. I think he'll be a solid starter in the NBA at some point. He's just got the tools. A big guard at like 6'5", can play defense, can play make, and can score a little bit. We're going to have to see how he ends up developing in Brooklyn with such a crowded backcourt, but I think he can be a starter at some point in his career. Johan Berenger, he was amazing at Summer League. He's going to be a key role player. I don't know how many All-Star teams he's going to make in his career, but I think he'll make at least one, and he's going to be a aggressive defending shot blocker. He's very talented defensively. And he's a good athlete. He was a lob threat all day at Summer League when I was there. It was to the point where I thought he was just going to come up and start dunking on people in the crowd. He was dunking on everyone on the Pelicans roster. It was crazy. This is Ryan Kalkbrenner, I guess. I don't think he'll ever get many minutes in the league. He's kind of a slower, unathletic big who's a decent shooter, but I don't think he's showed too much to the point where he's going to be a first backup at the center spot or a solid starter or an all-star. But there is always a chance. We're just going to have to see. And then this is actually Chaz Lanier, not Jemai Meshack. I think he'll have a longer career than Meshack. I think he can get to the point where he'll be a solid backup. He's a really good scorer, and he's a kind of a grittier guy. I think he can be a good defender in the league, too. And then Hugo Gonzalez is the only first-round pick not on this tier list. We're just going to call this guy Hugo Gonzalez. Celtics drafted him. I think he'll be a solid backup in his career. He was a great rebounder last year at Real Madrid. At like only 6'7", small forward, I think he's going to be a guy that could average like 6 rebounds a game. He gets on those boards. He's a good athlete, good defender. The offense is going to take a while to develop, though. And then I have no idea who these two guys are. So thank you guys for watching. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what you think. Go check out my NFL quarterback tier rank.